This bird is from the part of the longleaf pine. I refer to it as logger knot. I'm not sure what the official name is. This is what some of the people from this area call this type of wood. Everybody thinks I'm insane for trying to carve it. Everybody knows it's just good for starting fires. It has closed grain and it's very, very hard. Mainly because the resin in the wood is almost like a plastic or a cement, an epoxy type cement. I choose this kind of wood because when you finish, it not only has the weight of a very hardwood classic type like an ebony, but it has the endurance of many of the hardwoods that you come across at a much, much higher cost, if you can find it at all. Unlike the snake, when you carve the snake skin, if you saw one of my previous films, you have the scales, like you have a scale here and a scale here, and you have a scale in between above them, and you just keep building like dominoes, on and on. With the bird and the feathers, the scales, or in this case the feathers, are very similar as far as the way you do them, but they don't have to be as uniform as a snake skin, because the feathers are not uniform. They're just very much different as far as the shape, and the location of them on the bird will also vary the size. You see, as I'm shaping each feather, kind of rounding it, it should be rounded in the center part and kind of taper off on the side of each feather. On a simple carving and stuff, it's not this critical, but this is going up for auction for the Wounded Warriors project, and I want to make this one of the best pieces I've ever done to gather as high a price as we possibly can on the auction. Now you see where the wood is darker. I've already used my process that I call torching. This kind of wood, since it has what used to be tapped for the longleaf pine trees for turpentine, they used to tap them just like maple trees. And in this case, they used to tap them and get turpentine out of it in the pots. Well, the turpentine stays in this wood forever. And sometimes when you work it, it brings the turpentine to the surface. It almost oozes out. What I do on the birds to get the effect that I want is I burn it. You don't set it on fire, you don't want it to blaze, although it does flare up from time to time when you get a good pocket of turpentine. But if you can see the shiny effect, that is the turpentine rising to the top, and that's what is actually burning. When you get done with the section, run the sandpaper over it. What this does is it highlights the high spots, knocks down some of your rough edges, and it creates what I call contrast. And this will actually show you where you need to get more feathers carved into this figure itself. As you can see, each section of the bird has different procedures. The wings, you have your main feathers, you have the secondary feathers, and then you have the minor feathers in the wings that make them up. They all have different characteristics. If you want to count the feathers and stuff in a eagle's wing, usually there's 13 of these feathers. There's 12 to 13 of the feathers, the major primary feathers of the wings, and another 13 down this way. But who's counting? As you can see, I have the claws roughed in, and I don't know if you can see that angle there. The talons are going to be the only thing touching this tree limb. See this section here? This is going to be part of what I'm making out to be a hollow tree stump and the limb sticking out from it. And this piece here and this piece here will be the only piece that is actually supporting this eagle. And this wood can become very brittle, so when you get to this point, you have to be careful. All my banging around with the chisels and such as that is done. Hopefully I'll be able to continue getting the detail work and start on the back here shortly. You can see that this is just raw wood. This will be filled in with glue and feather pieces and stuff to fill in the gaps, and the feathers will actually cover up in layers like a real bird's feathers will. But if you got time, November 2nd, 3rd, I forget, in Stark Height, Keystone Heights, I believe, Florida, is going to be an auction, and this will be one of the pieces. Come out and bid on it. It goes for a good cause for the Wounded Warriors program. This is the beginning of the end of the detail work on the Welcome Home Eagle. I have started doing the texture on the feathers. Have one wing left to show. Trying to show you all that there is. The talons will be the last thing I finish off. I will finish them off with some emery board. It depends on the light, how it catches it. I'm going to be showing you how I make the texture. It's not showing up good. On the feathers. No. Anyhow, once this is done, I'm going to put a couple coats of lacquer on it. I don't think I'm going to use the white paint on the tail feathers and the head, or any color enhancement on the beak or the feet. Pretty much native, natural wood color. If you remember what it looked like in the beginning, that's pretty. Okay. The feathers, let me show you an example that I have here. As you can see here, the feathers have little veins. They're made up of little hairs almost. What I'm trying to do is not mimic, or yeah, I am trying to mimic. I'm not trying to create the individual veins in the feather, but I'm trying to mimic the look that it creates. That's from one of my little hawk buddies outside. So what I do, it doesn't have to be exact or uniform. The more irregular, the more my wife suggested that I do some kind of a backdrop so it shows the figure a lot better than just having sit on my bench. So this is my attempt at advertisement. My youngest son is going to college to become an advertising artist, I guess, and hopefully when he's done, he'll do my advertising for me. Anyhow, this is what I have come up with the Welcome Home GI Eagle. I have my first coat of lacquer on it. I'm going to rub it down with steel wool and put a couple more on there. I just want to seal the wood real well. I put a base on it. Make sure that it doesn't fall over and break his little wings. But I'm hoping that everybody will like this, and it will show some interest at the auction. Thank God I'm not getting paid to be a photographer. But this is what I've done, and I hope Dave Amerin, Staff Sergeant, U.S. Army, the one that requested I make this for their auction at Post 86, American Vets in Keystone Heights, Florida. Their auction will be October 3rd, first Saturday in October. And I hope all turns out well. Wait, that's the first Saturday in November, I'm sorry. To all American GIs out there, veterans, active, both, I want to thank you for your service, and only us veterans know what we have done. The only others that have any idea can't talk for us. So, thank you.